back. This is our 4th episode of The Living Years, and we are finally wrapping up my journey through the significant films of my birth year, 1975. I have saved the best for last. So here are my 10 favorites of the 32 movies I chose to watch. In 10th place was Cooley High. This coming-of-age high school film focuses on two best friends as they interact with residents of their Chicago neighborhood, specifically the housing projects. It is great to see the fun and carefree nature in which this film flows, and the characters are written well as such real people, which was rare in this era of blaxploitation films. It's very evident that this movie influenced later filmmakers like Spike Lee and John Singleton. And much like American Graffiti before it, the soundtrack shines bright. In this case, with tons of Motown classics and a new composition written for the film, It's So Hard to Say Goodbye to Yesterday, which many of us would recognize as later covered by Boyz II Men on their Cooley High Harmony album. See what they did there? My 9th favorite was the Rocky Horror Picture Show. It's the movie that defined the term cult classic. I've seen it before, but I watched it again with fresh eyes. I would love to be well-versed enough to know all the early sci-fi and horror B-movies that it's parodying. But the songs are great, and it's just so darn weird. I don't love it, but I admire its creativity and its edginess. In 8th place, The Stepford Wives. This is one I've seen several times, but I never tire of watching it. They build the dread ever so slowly until the big payoff at the end. It's such a product of the 1970s too. The clothes, the cars, the furniture, the women's liberation movement, everything. Number 7 is the first Best Picture nominee to appear in our countdown, and that is Jaws. It's the prototype for the summer blockbuster. Steven Spielberg would get much better, in my opinion, at storytelling, but this is a good one for sure. It's fun, it's classic. The atmosphere of dread and anticipation beats the actual payoff of seeing the shark. Musically speaking, John Williams proves here that he can do so much more with 2 notes than anybody else I know. At number 6 is another Best Picture nominee, Stanley Kubrick's Barry Lyndon. I was really torn going into this one. I love Kubrick, but I don't usually care for British period pieces. So this one is even 3 hours long. But Barry Lyndon completely delivered. I loved everything about it, especially the everyone is equal when they die moment from the final title card. Our top 5 begins with an underdog, The Hiding Place. This is likely the greatest production by a Christian company, which for some of you might not be saying much. But it tells the true story of Corrie ten Boom and her family's efforts to protect Jews during the Holocaust. The writing, acting, sets, atmosphere, everything in this film is devoted in service to the powerful story that it is telling. And if your eyes are dry by the time Corrie herself comes out in the final minutes, then you are definitely a robot. My 4th favorite film of 1975 is Woody Allen's Love and Death. In addition to paying tribute to / poking fun at Russian philosophical literature, it's a constant barrage of clever silliness. Take, for instance, this dialogue between 2 women discussing their mutual dead lover's possessions. We should really divide up his letters. Fine, I'll take the consonants, you can have the vowels. This may be my favorite Woody Allen film, and though I've certainly not seen them all, I have seen quite a few. Number 3, our 3rd Best Picture nominee to make the list, Dog Day Afternoon. It doesn't get much better than this. Al Pacino is great as usual as an almost capable bank robber. The film lets us spend just the right amount of time with this story, and a thrilling mess of a true story it is. The Academy and I almost agreed on the best film of 1975, and my number 2 spot is One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which swept all the major awards at the Oscars that year. And for good reason. It's a great film. Everything works, especially the ensemble cast. The patients and the staff members of the mental institution are played for tears, laughs, and many other stops in between. The tragic yet also happy ending is well earned and very moving. finally my favorite film of 1975, and that is Monty Python and the Holy Grail. There's nothing quite like this comedy classic. It's so far outside the box that the box should probably just get thrown out at this point. Speaking of boxes, they check off so many of them here. Smart humor, stupid humor, meta humor, absurdist humor, so much more. Bravo to the 6 geniuses of the Python troupe for this and, frankly, everything they've done. And there you have it. This wraps up my first 4-episode journey through what I subjectively considered to be 32 of the most significant films of 1975 to watch and review for you. I hope you enjoyed it. I actually did an even deeper dive into the albums of 1975, so those reviews will start next time. I hope you'll come back for that. It should be a lot of fun. See you then. In the sixth spot, at number 6 is